Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Neha and I'm from the marketing team of Lead, which is India's largest school edtech company. And on behalf of the brand, I would like to welcome all of you to this live webinar, which is going to be about how to effectively use Facebook to drive more school admissions. Today we have with us Vivek Shah, who has been working with Lead as Vice President of Marketing for the last 2 years. He has an extensive experience of over 14 years across different formats of digital marketing and online ads. And I'm sure, given Vivek's experience and his knowledge, you would gain a lot from today's session. So, without further ado, I would request him to kindly initiate the session. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you so much, Neha. Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of people have joined in. Thank you so much for joining in. We are actually conducting this because we got a lot of interest saying कि हमारे previous webinars के बाद कि let's do another one on paid ads, how to run paid ads on Facebook. So हमने organic के लिए करा है how to promote your brand on Facebook, and now we are doing how do you use Facebook ads to promote your school to get more admissions. So I hope everyone here gets their questions answered. As and when you think कुछ अगर if you want to ask anything, please feel free to raise your hand then and there. I'll try and answer that right then and there so that we don't push it for later. I see a couple of raised hands. Nachimuttuji, if I got your name right, and Kirtana ma'am, if you want to ask questions, you can just key in your questions. We have a team here who will just look them up and route them to me. All right. So what we are going to cover today, the next few 30-40 minutes, are these topics, right? We're going to look at why use Facebook ads to drive admissions, right? Why should we use it, and what kind of ads can you run? Facebook में क्या-क्या ads होते हैं? हम as consumers, as users of Facebook and Instagram, हम सभी देखते हैं. Facebook में कैसे ad चलाएं, Instagram में कैसे चलाएं, stories में कैसे दिखाएं. We will do that, and I will do it hands-on the Facebook ads platform. तो आपको भी समझ आएगा कि if you have to do it yourself, आप कैसे कर सकते हो, right? How to create an ad will show you क्या-क्या targeting available है. आप अपने area में ही कैसे ad चलाओगे, and not areas where you don't necessarily want to serve your ads or get people interested. And then आपकी ads की performance कैसे देखते हो, right? थोड़ा सा एक caveat है, warning. This is going to be some numbers when you look at performance. So don't be afraid. Platforms हैं, Google है, Facebook है, they make it easier for you to understand it, and we are also there to help you understand it. So don't be worried, but there will be some numbers when you look at performance वाले screen पे, right? So I'll proceed. Thanks. So why do we use Facebook ads to drive admissions, right? ये हमने organic में भी बात करी है, digital in general, Facebook in particular. You get targeting very clear. आप Facebook में and हम देखेंगे actual में देखेंगे कि क्या-क्या targeting options available हैं. But you can only show your ads to people who are genuinely interested. तो आपको चाहिए तो आप parents as a people you can find out कि online में ये parent से related content देखता है या देखती है, इसलिए मुझे इस इंसान को ad दिखाना है. Right? ये आप offline या mainline channel में करना बहुत मुश्किल है. आपको नहीं पता जो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रहा है वो कौन है, कोई भी हो सकता है. वाइडर रीच, ताकि आप सही लोगों को पहुंचे, आपके एरिया में जितने ज्यादा लोग हो सके पहुंचे. That is sure, Aarti ma'am, I'll keep it to English, but we also have some people from non-English areas, so to serve to that I keep switching, but I'll make sure I cover it in English for sure. So to enable wider reach, there are many people who might not have heard of your school but are interested in parenting and their child's growth. So we'll address those people and we'll see what all options available there. It's of course way more cost effective than a mainline channel or a television, right? Running your ad on television is way more expensive because it goes to so many more people. And therefore, you can also have more engaging ad formats. By engaging, I mean most of us would have used Facebook stories and seen reels in addition to what we scroll on Facebook. Many of us are also on Instagram, right? And Instagram is owned by Facebook. So when you have to run ads on Instagram and Instagram stories, I'm sorry, uh, it all can happen through the same Facebook environment. All right. So those are the three, four main reasons why we actually use Facebook to drive admissions, and that's where we look at the next slide, which is on ad formats. What all formats could exist, right? So do we have a I hope most of you know about these, but in case you do know, let me just take a moment, and those of you who have used it, you just type in what all formats you think exist or you have used or you're aware of. I will just look at the chat in the meantime.
Also, Vivek, before we proceed further, I think we should do a quick poll with our audience.
Yes.
So, audience, I would launch a poll and it's going to be on your screen. And the question is, how many of you have a Facebook page for your school? So, if you could prompt, I'll give you a minute to answer.
Oh, that's a good number of response that we've got, I think.
Yes, yes. And almost 89% of our participants have said that they have a Facebook page for their school, which is great to hear. So yeah, so I think for all of you who have a Facebook page and for people who don't, I think this session is very, very essential for you guys to understand how to then leverage Facebook to drive further school admissions. So Vivek, over to you again.
Thank you. Okay, so while we look at the types of Facebook ads, those who are there, you want to just type out what all formats you think are available on Facebook. I'll just wait for a couple of moments and then we shall anyone on the format. In the meanwhile, let me just walk you through the formats that are there. So first is image ads, right? Which are simple static ads. They typically feature a strong visual of, like you see one example that we have placed here. Let's talk about your classroom, and you can talk what exactly that image is about. These images could be illustrations, design, photography. One key area is to pay attention to image specifications, because Facebook platforms are a little particular about what is the size and ratio that should go in, and it doesn't get cut off and stretched, right? So we've given the image ad requirement. There are a bunch of free tools that we've given earlier as well, which can help you create these images with these aspect ratios, length versus breadth, so that when you upload them, it's much easier, right? So image ads are very good and very simple way. You don't involve a lot of overload to make it. You have one photo, you can use a designing platform, and like Canva, and you'll get it. All right. Next is video ads, right? Now this is a very, very powerful medium of running ads, which is video ads can typically showcase lot more than just one static image, right? If you have a great classroom, when we work with our schools, lead schools, we have, ma'am, if the voice is not audible, is it breaking? If you're not able to hear me at all, I request you to just check your internet connection, because we see here audio is all right. Um, all right, coming back to video, right? A lot of our schools, when they have smart classrooms, when they have a multimodal class in session, people record those classes, record those sessions, and demonstrate how does learning happen in a way that the child understands. Thank you, Chandra Lakaji, for confirming. Um, Okay. So these video ads essentially help you create a, an active class in action. And when parents are looking and seeking schools where to admit, if they can see this wherever they are, how classes are being conducted, that gives a very strong confidence just to move in to that school to know more, right? So videos can be up to a very long video, but when you're running ads, typically they say that, you know, 30 to 45 seconds is a good space. Under 15 is super crisp, but it might require some bit of editing as well. Okay, Bhavani Singh ji, I will speak a little louder. I hope this is loud enough. Uh, so keep your ads limit around 15 to 30 seconds. Beyond that, it can be a little too lengthy for anyone to watch. We all lose our attention very soon, right? So those are video ads. Okay. Next one are carousel ads. Now carousel ads are somewhere between video and a static, right? In static you have just one ad, right? But in carousel you can create a series of 10 ads or 10 static ads and put them together, and you can sort of scroll through it, right? So each image has its own headline, description, link that you can see here. For example, make your school the best in area is one separate image for this first image, for one separate description for this first image. Similarly, for the second one, you can see lead international standard education, and which says get international standard education, so on and so forth, right? Now, this helps you create think about a scenario where you have 4 or 5 different kinds of rooms. You have a music room, you have a science lab, you have a library, you have a computer room, and you want to tell that all this exists in my school, and you have your vehicles for travel, etc. Right? So it's a very great choice for displaying a series of highlights of your school. Could be rooms, facilities, teachers, awards, whatever. Right? And it's often very useful for uh, guiding parents through an application process. For if you have 7 8 process for application or admission, you can actually say first I fill the form, second submit it, third pay fees, etc., 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 right? So that series sequencing becomes much easier when you run carousel ads. I hope you are clear on this. If yes, we can proceed. uh, Types of Facebook ad formats. Next one is story ad. And this is a really interesting space, uh, primarily because a lot of people consume stories, right? I'm sure amongst us, हम में से बहुतों ने stories देखी हैं. A lot of us have seen stories as users. And if we are using it, you can pretty much assume a lot of our parents are also using it. And if you can make yourself available and present there, you have their attention, right? And that's what the whole idea of marketing through on digital channels is, right? You need to get the right attention quickly. So these are the main key formats, excuse me, that we have. Before we proceed, though, we're going to have another poll. If we can
Yes.
have the team fire that away.
Yes. I would launch the poll very quickly. Second. All right, audience, I think it's already on your screen. We would want to know that which of these is not a Facebook ad format. Is it image ads, video ads, standees, or carousel ads? We'll give you a minute to answer that. Would request all of you to participate and put in your answers, please.
Okay, we've got a good number of responses. We've got. Let's just wait for last few seconds. Five. Okay, you've got a
All
good bunch
right.
of response. You want to share the result?
Almost, yes, I'm sharing the result. Almost 65% of you have answered it right. Yes, standees, they're not a Facebook ad format. And for people who have not gotten this right, please feel free to put in your questions, any doubts that you have on the chat box or on the Q&A, and we would take that up. Thank you. Vivek, over to you again.
Thank you. In the meanwhile, we have a question from Weber. Is to what is a better platform, Facebook or Insta? Right. I think it's a little unfair to say which is a better platform. It is about putting your ads on both platforms and seeing where do you get better response. Right. Both are essentially a part of the same company, which is Meta. Right. So there are different set of audiences on Instagram. Uh, Data suggests they're slightly more on the younger side. Facebook is slightly skewed on the elder side, but it's not like they don't overlap, right? So you have to put your ads on both places, see which one works the best for you. I hope that answers Vaibhavji. And any other chat questions? Okay, so you're good. Okay, now we're going to come to the interesting part, and this is going to be a little. I'll encourage you to follow with me on the Facebook ads platform. If not, we're going to give you this recording and this deck, so you can also replicate it yourself after afterwards by yourself. So we're going to actually create a Facebook ad, right? And while we've given all the steps here, right? Go to Facebook business page, go to Meta Ad Suite, head straight to ads, right? What is business suite? Let me actually show you while I am on screen, and let me just go to my Facebook ads page, right? Now, once you log into Facebook, you got to go to adsmanager.facebook.com. We'll give this link in the PPT so you can see it. In the meantime, if someone asks a question, please let me know. So this is the screen that you would. Sorry, are you able to see my screen? No, let me just share it. Sorry, let me just share my screen where I am actually going to be running ads. I hope the screen is now visible, and this is how a Facebook ads platform looks like. All right. It has got a lot of options here because of the platform is so vast, right? But we'll simplify it for you, right? You have to just and platform has done a fantastic job of simplifying it. So you have to just come here and hit create, right? And we've given this all in the screenshot as well. So don't worry if you're not able to follow. We'll give you that, right? You will have to pick a campaign objective. Now, let me ask you, and please feel to type it in the question A. If you want to get more leads from parents who are interested in calling or speaking to you, uh, which of these you think would be the best objective? Awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, or sales? You can quickly type in your chat. Engagement, most of you are saying engagement, right? So you want to engage your parents so that they look at what you are doing, right? So engagement allows you to put videos, uh, put post, put post, right? So you have to see that ad and then land on your page. We can show you that. What we also do recommend based on what we have seen is when you want to get a parent's information by showing them your schools, facilities, etc. You can get their name, phone number, and then call them back or invite them to your school, right? That would help you even more in driving admissions because केवल ads दिखा के तो कुछ होगा नहीं. You want to get them to your school, and for that a very useful form or an objective, sorry, is leads. Where in Facebook itself, I'm sure some of you would have used it also. You click on it and it shows you, okay, give me these 4 or 5 fields about your name, your child's grade, when are you seeking admission, are you seeking admission this year, and you can ask your set of questions which help you qualify, and that lead straight away comes to you. Right? So that's a very useful objective to use as well, right? So I'll take you through both. Let me take you through leads. The ad Creation is still the same, just the format of collecting the information changes. I have a few questions in the meanwhile. Let me take a look. Facebook page I have linked with an individual account. Is it mandatory to have a standalone Facebook page? Um, have to be linked with the individual account. That you need to have a business payment enablement on your account so that your ads can run. If I've got your understood, if I got your question right, your account should be enabled with billing information. What about those parents who not like to use Instagram or Facebook? Well, if those who don't use Instagram and Facebook, you can't reach them through Instagram and Facebook. To be very honest, in a short way, this is for all those people who are on Instagram and Facebook. Rajesh ji, I will try and use both English and Hindi. Some people are English heavy, some people are Hindi heavy. But thank you for your input. Okay, so let me just get into. Once you define this, it automatically creates a new leads campaign, and now the magic starts, right? You can create a campaign name, you can give your school name so that you can easily understand it. You can give a month so that you know when did you create this campaign, and say if you want to create leads 2023, so that you know what are you working on, right? Um, your campaign objective here I have taken as leads, and that is pretty much it. You hit next. Now every campaign has an ad set. Ad set essentially is how do you want to collect information, right? So we can create leads on your website. If you have a website, you can choose this option. The ad, once on clicking, will go to your website. Many times what happens is we don't have a website, or we have a website but we don't have a very good form, or we have a form but that form is not a very good looking informative form. So there are a lot of these operational challenges often. So Facebook has done a very phenomenal job by saying instant forms, right? The form is created in Facebook itself, so you don't have to get them out of Facebook. It also helps you in reducing your costs on a separate level. So I will select Instagram instant forms for now, right? You will need a Facebook page, and that standalone page is sufficient, right? And you have to give your budget, how much you are going to spend daily. This is where you are the best judge in terms of how much money you are willing to spend. You will have to try at times to realize, to see how much one lead costs you, right? It could be anywhere between a couple of hundred, 200 rupees to 800, 900 rupees, depending on how sharp you are targeting, how many questions you are asking, so on and so forth. Right? You can select your start date. When do you want to start the ad? And this is where it becomes interesting. Who do you want your ad to? Who do you want to show your ads to? Okay, so you can select audiences. Let me show you how to select audiences. Right? Sorry, I want to create an audience. Right? So um, give me a moment. Yeah. So location, right? Now, most of all of you come from different parts of the country. Now, if you want to just select your ad only for that specific region, let me just take a village in, say, Gujarat called Kheda, Gujarat, right? So it will select that. You can put your place of your interest, and it will select those number of people in that region, right? It also gives you broadly how many people are there in that region, so you know what's the broad range you're likely to get, right? You can also select, I don't want 25-mile radius of my city. I want to do it minimum is 10-mile radius. So you can keep it far more sharp, right? You see the number of estimated audience size also changes as a result. Right? I hope you got what I was saying. So you can select that audience. Now you say within this region, I want to add, I want to reach out to people within a specific age bracket. So it gives you above 18, you can start targeting. So if you're saying that parents would be say 25 or 27 onwards or 25 onwards till about 45 onwards. I'm just making some numbers up. But given the average age for a preschooler to someone in 10th, or their grandparents, because they might also be seeking admissions for them. Now you see this number has further become a little sharper, right? Now I can say this is the audience that I'm willing to, I want to reach out to or target, right? I can select all genders. If you want to say no, I want to select only fathers, or I want to select only mothers, you can do that as well, right? You have that option. I've currently just taken all, but you can select whatever. Now you can also create demographic interest and behavior. Now, when you consume Facebook, when you consume Instagram, when you consume any of the websites, there are a whole bunch of mechanism behind the scenes which enriches what are you interested in. So without you telling, platforms understand if you are consuming a lot of content on parenting, or if you are consuming a lot of content on schooling, they can understand your interest. And this is where, when you click on browse, you will see interests, right? And you can actually see family and relationships here. And you can see anyone who's interested in family, fatherhood, anyone who's interested in marriage, likely is that they might have children and they might be looking for schooling, motherhood, parenting, so on and so forth, right? You can even type the topic that might come into your mind, for example, schools, right? And you will see people who have interest in high school, primary school, private school, graduate school, business school, old school, so on and so forth, right? So these are the ways you can just keep on selecting your audience and they will keep getting added, right? Someone who is a parent, someone who is a working parent, right? So as and when you select these audiences, they keep getting added to your place, to your audiences, right? One also has to be very careful about what is the audience base. The sharper you keep your audience, Facebook gets that many lesser opportunities to show ads, right? If you think about it, if you have 1 lakh people you're showing your ads to versus you're showing your ads to 10 lakh or 10,000 people, right? Uh, you might not get the same amount of opportunities to show your ads to those set of people. So this is a balance you have to keep on trying. There isn't a single answer to that. एंड आपको ये डेली बताता रहेगा फेसबुक कि आपको ऑन एन एवरेज यू विल रीच सो मेनी पीपल एवरी डे, राइट? Because when you say you have 10,000 people that you can reach, not all of them come to Facebook every day, right? So you might get a subset or a smaller version of that. And it also tells you roughly how many leads will you get every day. And this is very powerful because आपको eventually you want to see how many people are actually filling the form, right? Not every one of them will be interested, but at least you will know, okay, I can handle 10 calls a day. Maybe, if you were to keep much larger audience, you might get 50 calls. Can you handle that? Maybe yes, maybe no, depending on your school, right? So this also tells you how much to expect, and therefore what do you need to do, right? So whatever I selected came here, right? You can keep adding more if you want. Okay, now this is the other interesting part. Now you can also select placements. Remember at the start of the session, I mentioned that we can run ads on Instagram, on Facebook, on stories. So how do we get to do that? So once you select on manual placements, right, it gives you the option to say whether you want to ads on Facebook, on Instagram, audience network. I'll just keep that aside for now, but audience networks, so now just keep that aside. You can select Facebook and Instagram. Now within Instagram and Facebook, you can then select how to run your ads, whether you want to run your ads on feeds, it will look like this, which is shown on your right, or you want to show your ads on stories and reels, which is a lot of consumption happens there, and you get a lot of engagement at that point. um, you want your ads when someone is watching videos, right? Now depending on certain locations, there might be more videos, there might be fewer videos, right? And then, or someone is searching, right? Now you would say, okay, my parents don't spend a lot of time searching, you can just unselect it, right? So you see not a lot of change has happened. You still are likely to get 10 odd uh, leads every day, right? And that's it. You then select next. Once you select next, it then now you have defined who do you want to show your ad to, right? Next is what do you want to show? what is the ad you want them to see. Now this is where you can create an ad, right? And you have different formats. We showed about, we spoke about it: feeds, stories, reels, right? So you can create ads, right? You can add a creative, you can create a single image ad or a video ad. We looked at it, or carousel ad. Remember we spoke about the cards that come along with it, right? And Facebook has done a fantastic job in showing you previews on how your ads will look, right? So whenever you have a ad creative, you can add media to it. You can add an image. Let me see if I have any images stored here. I will just take a dummy image for now. Let me just take this. Uh, it is okay. Let me just take my photo because I like it. And so now the image gets automatically loaded. Right now, imagine you can do this yourself um, by taking photos on your phone. If you have a good phone, moment you start writing copy, it will appear here as well. So let me say, sorry, webinar on Facebook ads. So let me just scroll this down. Now webinar on Facebook ads starts appearing here, right? So fill in forms, fill in forms to join the webinar on Facebook ads, right? Now that's it. You've written this and your ad is almost ready, right? Now that's super powerful. We barely took for about 8 or 10 minutes, and our ad is ready if you have your images with you, right? You can add multiple text options here, so Facebook will automatically select the best one, right? You can add additional details in description. This webinar will cover topic, so it starts populating right on the side, so you can see how the uh, so I'm just typing some dummy text so that you get a sense of how it will look. Right. So you will see this webinar will cover topics is what I have written. Now imagine you can replace this webinar. I have taken webinar because I'm giving an example of webinar. But if you want to drive parents to your schools, you can say, come visit our school with open day. Sorry, open day planned on 25th March, right? And you can have parents know, okay, this is what it's happening. Kind of drop in your phone numbers and we'll get in touch with you, right? So you can say sign up. It gives you a whole bunch of uh, call to action. So you can say either sign up or apply now if you want to get them to say apply to the school, right? And this is where I was telling you an instant form can come up, right? So you don't have to create a form on a website and have another separate developer work for you, right? You can just create a form here where you can ask questions that matter to you, right? So you can add a question here which says, do you want a multiple choice question or a short answer? For example, I can say child's name, right? Very simple question. You want to ask a multiple choice question which is in the range of child's grade you are seeking admission for, right? And you can say pre-primary. So you get my drift. You can ask questions that are okay, right? So I understand we have a few questions. So but you get to see, right? You can ask questions depending on these options so that it automatically helps parents give the information without you having to need a developer to make these questions, right? You can sequence this so that first you can ask child's name, and then you can ask uh, sorry, it's just not getting yeah. Okay, we have a few questions in the meanwhile. Let me just take a look. So what about those parents who are not okay? Would you
Vivek, we have a very interesting question from Anup, and he asks that if we can customize the settings based on a particular festival or let's say a Sunday.
Yeah. So short answer is you can do ad scheduling. It'll so answer to your question, Anup, is yes, we can do it. You can create an ad only for Sunday. There is a way to schedule your ads. Slightly level 2, level 3. Facebook would be um, too vast to cover in one hour session. But answer to the question is yes, we can do that.
There's another question that we have received, Vivek, and it says, what is the difference between Facebook ad and boosting the post?
So fundamentally, posts are when you boost a post, you're essentially boosting what is there on your page, right? Which means anyone and everyone who has come to your page will be able to see it, what the post is. But many times you don't you may not want to publish every ad of yours on your post for you to boost it, right? So if you are creating a festive occasion in your school and you can say you have created a post, fair, you can boost it with similar targeting. But you're going to run for 13, 15, 20 ads, which is what most companies and businesses do. You don't want to create those many posts which have very little engagement and it's not adding any value. So for that specific purpose, the two are different. Hope that answers your question. I forgot who was asking that.
Tamil Money,
Tamilji.
if
Okay,
I've gotten his name right.
got it. Right. Thank you. Any other question that I might have missed, Neha?
So Bhavani asks that if someone would be able to assist her on a phone call for this. I'll answer that. We would send you the complete guide of this webinar, so don't worry. And of course, feel free to ask questions wherever you have a doubt, and Vivek would take that up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our intent is to empower you with all that you need. And that's what this webinar is for. All right. The moment we have these questions in place, yeah. So the moment you have these questions in place, we have your form ready. We can add a few more questions just in case you want to ask. What this also does, which is a fantastic thing um, about about Facebook, is it also pre-fills a lot of a lot of information, right? So when someone has to type my name, type phone number, type email, it's very cumbersome, right? If you have to get them to your website, you will have that person will have to type so much. Whereas platform like Facebook can pre-fill questions. So Facebook very often validates, almost always validates your phone number and email address and your name. So imagine as a form filler, I don't want to fill these information. I just have to fill the information which is specific to you. The chances of me giving my information are that much higher, right? So you get the phone number information that you need. You also get qualifying information about the child's grade, interest, time, location, etc. So when you call the person back, it's so much easier for you as school and so much easier as parent who has filled the form, right? Now, one common area where I want to just lay a little bit of emphasis on is if you ask too many questions, people might get very irritated and they might just drop off. If you ask too few questions, sometimes people who are not completely interested might also fill the form and give you, and you will say the leads are not typically interested, right? And then when you get a lead, how soon you reach back to that conversation and call that person is up to you, right? So these three factors are extremely important in helping you drive the efficacy of your campaigns, right? So this is a very high level view, and I know some of you might have found this little fast, but I'm going to pause for a few question Q&A at the end of this. Net, once you have done with this, you press publish, you are ready. Your ad is good to go. They will take some time to review it so that they have their policies and guidelines, Facebook, and then your ads will start serving, right? So I'm going to just take a bit of a pause here, and just to complete the uh, the sequence of our conversation, once your ads are running, right, you will start seeing reports here. And this is where in the Facebook page, you will see what is the number of results that you are getting. You can see a lot of charts. How many people have you reached? What is the impression? What is the cost per result? And there are a whole bunch of reporting columns that are available. Now, I won't scare you, but you can see a lot of these predefined reports, and you can even customize columns as per your choice as to what do you want to see. There are loads of these reporting metrics that are available, and you just hover around them. They will tell you what that report means, right? So it can get a little number heavy, but net, what you will need is to see how many results have you received, which is here, right? And you will click on this. You will get a simple export on Excel of all the people who have filled in your form, and you can start calling them or tracking them, whichever way, right? So that's the whole sort of um, sequence of running the ads. I'm going to take a bit of a pause. Sneha, over
Yes,
to you.
yes. I would like to do a little bit of a sentiment check on the webinar. So, audience, how confident are you feeling about running a Facebook ad? I'm launching the question on your screen. Please participate and answer. All right, a lot of people have participated in this poll. I'm going to share the results as well. So 83% of people think that they are very, very confident running a Facebook ad. And for those of you who still have doubts, please feel free to answer, drop in your questions either on the chat box or use the Q&A button. And as I mentioned before, we would be sending the complete recording and the guide to all of you, so don't worry about anything. Vivek, we would be doing the Q&A round, so I would give you a couple of minutes to go through all the questions that we have received. And while you're on this, I would like to invite Shalini Bhattacharya. She heads brand PR and content for Lead, and she would tell us what our brand is about, what our core ethos is. So Shalini, over to you.
Sorry, I just realized I was on mute. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Can we see the slides again, please? Thanks, Siddharth. So while you keep your questions coming in, first of all, thank you so much for making time to join us. We appreciate your presence here. Before going into what is Lead and who we are, I'd just like to take a moment to share that the only reason we're actually here is you. We believe at Lead that education, core education, best happens in a school. And we're so grateful and thankful that, education pioneers and entrepreneurs like you are trying to shape the future of education in India. So yes, we are currently the largest and fastest growing school edtech company in India. We're about 10 plus years in existence. We were established as a company, as a school edtech company in 2012. Our founders are Sumit Mehta and Smita Dira. And every day we are working towards the mission of making sure that excellent education should be both accessible and affordable to every child in India, right? Currently, we're in about 400 plus cities. We have a very happy network of 9,000 plus schools that we work with on a regular basis. That means more than 50,000 plus teachers across these schools and more than 5 million engaged students. Can we move on? So, what is the lead school system? This is a question that we are often asked. Um, think of us as an integrated school edtech system. What we are trying to do with this system is that we want to transform every school into a super school where high quality international level education is made available to students. And we believe that this should be irrespective of where your school is, because we believe that it is the right of every child to have an excellent schooling, no matter where they are studying. But coming back to LEAD's integrated system, it is essentially a combination of three parts. One is our teacher capability system, which using which we make sure that every teacher becomes a very confident teacher that is able to engage her students effectively in class and therefore become a super teacher. We also have very strong technology legs. So of course, we're constantly working on innovating on technology that we create specifically for schools. And of course, everything we do is centered around the student, the child, because we understand how important it is to move students away from rote learning towards deeper conceptual understanding of subjects. So thank you once again for attending our webinar today. I'm sure we have a lot of questions already. I can see some of them in the Q&A window. So yes, back to our questions.
Yes, Vivek, we have gotten a lot of questions. And one of the most interesting questions that I've received from Narendra Shukla is how to generate leads from rural areas.
Right. So, when I was showing the targeting, right, you can select the region of your interest, and Facebook has mapped a whole and almost entire country, right? So long as there are people in the rural area who are accessing internet for Facebook and on Instagram, which I'm sure most of us do if they are on internet, right? You will be able to reach out. So select the name of the location that comes to you. So I took an example of Kheda. You can just type in in the geography targeting your area, and Facebook will show how many people are available there.
All right. Thank you, Vivek, for answering that. There's another very interesting question. Will Facebook tell us cost per lead?
Absolutely. Facebook will tell you how much have you spent. It will tell you how many leads you've got, and therefore it will also calculate and tell you what is the cost per lead that you've got.
Right, right. There's another very interesting question, and it says, where would all these ad responses be stored and how to access them?
Absolutely. So the beauty of this is because you don't have to worry with a technical developer on to have leads on your website. These leads can get stored primarily on Facebook. So you can download them in an Excel, and if you're a little more and adventurous, you can create certain automations which can automatically push them to a Google Sheet, or if you work with Google Sheets, or email you if that helps, right? But primarily, first source is within Facebook, and you can also pull it in other sources.
All right, there is one more question from Anoop. Is it possible to publish the ad during any specific time? And also, what would be the best time to publish an ad for a rural area?
Right. So think of it as whether it's rural, whether it's non-rural. When do people you think would be online, right? Now, you pay only if someone sees your ad, right? So if not a lot of people are there online, just still ad is running, you won't pay if no one is seeing it, right? So it doesn't. There are, I'm sorry, there are ways you can schedule your ad which says, okay, run my ad from 8 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, and then 6 in the evening till 8 in the evening, or whatever. I'm just making some of these numbers up. But you can schedule it during the day. But when you schedule it, it comes with certain other trade-offs where some of the other costs could go up, right? So my recommendation is, unless there is a very strong need to schedule it during the certain hours of the day and not schedule it, keep it running across the day, and keep your overall budget in mind, right? Facebook will try and deliver to the best of its ability. If you try and mix it, unless you have a very strong reason, it could become a little more expensive than otherwise.
Vivek, Narendra Shukla wants to know what is the definition of CPC?
Sure. Definition of CPC, Narendra, is cost per click, right? So how much is the platform charging you if anyone opens or clicks your ad, right? They might click your ad 2 times, they might click your ad 3 times. Not a lot of us do that, but every time anyone click is occurring on your ad, how much you are paying at that point in time is cost per click.
There is another question from Giridharan, and he says that how much is cost per day or per month? I think he wants to understand how to calculate that.
So here it's the other way around, where you should decide how much you want to spend every day or how much you want to spend every month, right? And while one can go in with assumption is I want to start with 100 every day or 1,000 every day, unless you set the dice or the ball rolling to see how much I am getting in that region, because every region is different. The pricing occurs basis how much you have to pay to get someone to see or click your ad. But there are other advertisers also like you to do, who are wanting to do that, right? So if there are a lot of advertisers, the competition will be high, the costs might be high. So for the same budget, you might get lower leads. But if the competition is low, everything else is low, you might get cheap leads at a cheaper cost or a lesser cost. So my suggestion is try for 4 to 5 days at a slow burn, 200 rupees, 500 rupees, whatever your capacity is. I'm not saying this is high or low, whatever your budget allows you to try, and that will give you some sense. A lot of these platforms also, is not my view, this is the platform's view, also need certain time for which they run the ads so that they can also optimize themselves, right? So you need to often give it some time, and typically 3 to 5 days is minimum for platforms to understand it. So those are my inputs. Give it some consistent cash and give it some time duration. Don't look at it in 1 day and 2 day and say it's working or it's not working.
All right. Thank you, Vivek. There is a question that says, can we drive admissions and engage audience via only organic post and no paid ads?
Absolutely, so you can do that. Of course, you can do that. Organic. We had a separate session on how to engage and build engagement using organic post. Maybe we can, as a after this, Neha, we can just share all those links as well
Yes.
with this audience, which we will do. So that's great. You will get what we can do in organic. What, just for everyone's understanding, what organic does is, if you have 100 people who are following you and you put an organic post, maybe 1 or 2 people will get to see it at best, right? Which is when by organic reach, 1 to 2%. Remaining 98 won't get to see it. But if you want the remaining 98 to see it, you will need to push your post, and that's where what we discussed today comes in handy.
All right. We would just take a couple of more questions. And
Sure.
one of the question is, how much should I assume that I would need to spend on Facebook?
Absolutely, sir. That is your call on how much you want to spend, right? Because if you're doing it for the first time, you're always going to have a bit of a skepticism whether this will work, but you also want it to work, right? So you have to put certain money. They say, okay, I'm going to try this and see how this works. Try it for some time. Don't decide in 2 or 3 days. If it is good, also don't decide in 2 or 3 days. If it is very bad, also don't decide in 2 or 3 days. Give it at least 5 odd days of consistent exposure. Then you will start seeing reasonable impact.
All right. I'm going to take one last question, and I'm going to club actually two questions because we are
Sure.
getting similar sentiments. So first, Vivek, the audience wants to know that what is the ideal number of ads to run for efficient output, and what is the best format, image or video?
Okay. So first question is ideal number of ads. More the better, right? Think about it, and whenever you have these questions, think about it as a consumer. If you see just one ad from one business all the time, uh, would that make effect that much effect? Or if you see 2 3 variations of it, it'll give you different aspects of the school, in this case, much better, right? So if you have 3 4 dimensions to talk about, please add as many as you can. right? One will obviously be very, very little. What will you say in one? Because you are going to have 2, 3 different strong reasons or hooks to tell to people. So as many strong reasons you have as to tell your people, have as many communication assets or ads, right? I hope that answers your question. And the second one is, I'm sorry, I forgot the
What
second
is the
one.
best format, image or video?
Image or video. So again, put your consumer hat. What are you more like to see, an image ad or a video ad? Right, you're going to see a video ad more often than not, because it's more attention grabbing. It's a matter of how well you create the video ad. The decision factor is how easily can you make a video ad, right? Sometimes making the video ad itself is a little extensive. It definitely is more engaging, that is no doubt, for consumers and for users. um, it can therefore be a little slightly more expensive, because Facebook knows there is more engagement. So these platforms have their means and ways of charging, right? So what I will recommend is video ads more engaging for sure. If you can create a video ad, run that video ad, also put a static ad, see which one gives you lesser cost per result, because that's what you are shooting for. It's not about just running a video ad or a static ad. So do that. You will see a lesser cost per result. Use that. Facebook as a platform will allow you to boost that more.
All right. All right. Thank you, Vivek. Vivek, this has been a great session. Audience, thank you for attending. So because of we are in a bit of a time crunch, so we wouldn't be taking any more questions. However, I am putting the link to the deck, and if we couldn't answer any question, there is a phone number that I'm going to be putting in into the chat box, and an email ID, so that you can reach out to us, and we would love to answer all your questions. There is also a feedback form, so please click on that form and give us your reviews, and we would consider all of the feedback and do better on our the next webinar. So thank you so much. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Shalini. Thank you, audience. This has been a great session.
Thank you everyone for attending. I think the quality of questions was also really nice, and that I'm sure a lot of others would have had those similar questions to ask as well.
All right, all right. One last thing I just want to add. A lot of people are asking if they would get the recording of this webinar. Yes, you would. So don't worry about that. And all the guides and the recording would be emailed across to you. All right. Having said that, thank you again for attending this webinar, and we shall see all of you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Anup, for the response. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Narendra ji. I think if I get the name right, PK.
Yeah, PK.
We should make sure that we have all the links shared with them.
We will do that.
Great.
He shared his email ID as well. We will
Great.
do that, sir.
Yes, we'll take a note of that.
Thank you, Sapna ma'am. We did this precisely because we got a feedback from everyone that we should do more of this, and therefore we are. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you, Nachimitu ji, for your participation. Pralaji will be sending this all in one email to you for sure. For sure. All the participants and for this session will get the recording of this session. Thank you, Kirtana.
All right. Thank you, Vivek, again for your time. Thank you, audience. We would send all the content assets and the recording across to each one of you. And thank you. Thank you for taking the
Thank you,
time out for this
Vivek.
webinar.
Thank you, Sneha.
Thank you. Bye.